Hello, this is Master Mario 548. Female protagonists. Are they risky? I bring this up because of what recently happened to Korra. The Legend of Korra, an Avatar sequel, recently has been taken off Nick and will now show aired digitally, which has upset many fans because Nick is run by idiots. But that's for another video. I saw some comments someone posted that said that women just can't be the protagonist. It will bore the audience and the show will not last. Most cartoons, or shows in general, do usually have a male protagonist. I mean, sure, there are a lot of shows where a girl is the main character, but compared to men, it's much smaller. So, do female protagonists just not work, or is it all a big load? Well, let's take a look. Now, how long a show lasts depends on the network and the team working on the show. If a show has good writing, great characters, and it's just fun to watch, it will last long. If it doesn't have any of these, the show won't last one season. Hopefully. Some networks have a limit to how long the shows can stay. Disney, for example, had a limit of about 65 episodes. Once the show hit 65, it would end, despite its popularity. They seem to have abandoned it a tiny bit now, but some networks still do stuff like that. With this, let's take a look at some various shows where the character is a male and the other is a female. But what should I start with? There are thousands of shows out there. Well, I'll start with some popular stuff. Let's start with The Simpsons. It has lasted 25 years so far, longer than any other cartoon. In The Simpsons, Homer is the main character. He gets the most screen time and the most lines, usually. The other Simpson family members do get a lot too, but not as much. If Marge were the main character, would the show still be around? It kinda makes you wonder. Most adult cartoons have a guy as the main character. This includes King of the Hill, Family Guy, and South Park. So, it seems women are pretty much ignored in the adult cartoon genre. The only one I could think of was Dora, which lasted a good 5 seasons, lasting from 1997 till 2002. Then there's kid shows. All of the original Nicktoons had a guy as the main character. The first cartoon with a female protagonist was The Wild Thornberrys, lasting from 1997 to 2004. That's a pretty good run. I liked the show, and many other guys must have if it lasted 6 years. But it also took a really long time for Nick to have its first female protagonist in a cartoon. The first Nicktoons came out in 1991, so that's a span of 7 years. Why didn't they make another one during that time? Were they just scared that the show wouldn't last? Let's look at some others. They have had some other shows with women in it, such as Told by Ginger, My Life as a Teenage Robot, and of course, Korra. All of which have been pretty well received. What about Cartoon Network though? Cartoon Network shows have included Dexter's Lab, Johnny's Bravo, Courage, and a bunch of other cartoons that came later. While all these shows did well and were loved by fans, there was one show that did better than all of them. The Powerpuff Girls. This was a show about 3 5-year-old girls who had superpowers and used them to fight crime, all before bedtime. And it kicked ass. This show was awesome. It had fighting and innuendos, which made it great for guys. It was a show for both girls and guys. And it lasted from 1997 to 2005. A very good run. It's supposed to come back in 2016. Let's just hope it has some great writing as it did before. And the same art style. Oh please God, let it be the same art style. Cartoon Network seems to be a network more targeted toward guys. So most of the shows have a male protagonist. Even the new ones, such as Adventure Time. But what about Disney? Well, most, if not all, the Disney afternoon shows shows had a male protagonist. However, they did seem to be more fair than Cartoon Network. Pepper Ann, the Proud Family, and who could forget Kim Possible did come later. Those shows did last a few years. Kim Possible actually broke the 65 episode rule, which was rare for its time. Phineas and Ferb has done that too, and they have been around since 2007. The show has 2 male protagonists as the main characters. Upon doing research I did find out that there are much more male protagonists than female, and that those shows do usually last longer, with a few exceptions. But what about live action? There are a lot of live action shows, and I can only do a few of them in this little video, but I'll try to pick them apart as good as I can. There are a bunch of kid shows with female protagonists such as Clarissa Explains It All, That's So Raven, and iCarly, as well as a bunch of other stupid teen dramas. From the male side, we have Kenan and Kel, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and Drake and Josh, as well as some other stupid dramas. Live shows for kids can only last a few years, so none of them can really last that long. A lot of the shows I looked up seem to be pretty much tied. Both male and female shows lasted a few years if successful. So, is it just kid shows in cartoons that women aren't as successful in? What about adult live action? Well, there's Murder, She Wrote, Buffy, and tons of sitcoms. Quite a few of them are successful, such as The Nanny and Roxanne, or Roseanne, or whatever her name is. There were some that lasted just as long as sitcoms where guys are the main characters, and male characters are usually meant to be funnier. While there are a lot more shows, there's just too much to put into one little video. There are a lot of shows with female protagonists that target an older audience than younger, but there is still a larger male protagonist role. So, let's end this. Are female males just a bad choice for a protagonist? Well, I think in a way they used to be. Sort of. While there were shows like I Love Lucy, which became a huge hit, there were a lot of shows with a male protagonist back then. Today, I think it's a little different. Most men don't see women as a weaker sex anymore, so they're more likely to give these shows a chance. We have some inspiring women today who have told young girls that they just don't have to be housewives. They have shown that women can be just as entertaining. And while there are some women out there who do ruin that, the ones who actually do help do a good job. So I think it is getting better for them, and hopefully we'll see more of them in the future, along with some other protagonists, such as male protagonist, or excuse me, black protagonist. As long as shows like Korra become successful, I think we'll see more girl power in the future. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I was able to get the word out to all the girls out there that female protagonists are just as good as boy ones. They are just as good as boy ones at just about anything, except leaving the toilet seat up. And did I just say that out loud? Okay, forget I said that. Pretend I said, you know what, forget it. I mean, why don't they look at the toilet seat? I mean, why don't they just look at it? It takes 1 second. 1 second! Or, what's this stuff about leaving the door up being sexist? I mean, it's not sexist, we're just trying to be polite. Would you rather just slam the door in your face? I'll do it if you wanna. Or, why do women think that everything had to be handed to them? Don't they know the meaning of hard work? It doesn't work that way. Or what about